In the next few minutes, you're going to get the opportunity to hear about an exciting new program that Port Commerce is putting in place for our agency. It's a program that I'm truly committed to because it is so important that we, who are the stewards of the environment and also responsible for economic development in this region, make sure that we're focused on both of those issues in protecting the environment while at the same time meeting the needs for this region and beyond. People are always looking over our shoulders to determine whether or not we're doing enough. With this program, we will be able to tell them how committed we are to the environment. We will be out in front of them, just as we always have been at the Port Authority as a leader in this industry. I'm personally committed to this. It is so important that we get this done. It's important for me, it's important for you, it's important for our children and our grandchildren.
Almost every business or branch of government has some impact on the environment. And since the whole idea of the environment became an issue back in the 1970s, everyone has had to learn to deal with the environment and how they influence it. Most organizations come at it the old way, which is primarily reactive. It works like this. A regulation is written, say, to reduce hydrocarbons from smokestacks. It's implemented, and then there's a reaction to it. If I'm a company affected, I then put all my energies into reducing the hydrocarbons I'm emitting. And once I've done that, I'm done with it. This old way of doing things turns environmental issues automatically into problems. Things I'd rather not have to deal with, but that I'm forced to. I see it as something that costs me money, and I resent that. That's the old way. The new way turns this on its head. It's proactive. So instead of waiting for some government regulator to hit me with a fine or take me to court, I take the initiative. I say, let's look at how we impact the environment and see where we can improve our process and probably save us some money in the bargain. It doesn't remove the regulations, but it puts my company in control of its own destiny. The basic idea is simple and elegant. I create for my company something called an environmental management system. I can design my EMS to follow an international standard called ISO 14001. The standard doesn't give you specific waste discharge numbers to meet, but it does give you a framework for setting up your system. And this same framework you use is the one everyone else in the world is using, which simplifies what you have to do to create your EMS. The flexibility built into a good environmental management system means that this new way of doing business works just as effectively in high-tech industries as it does in more traditional industrial enterprises and government agencies, such as cities, counties, and even the military. Here's a look at what makes ISO 14001 work, and what each of these organizations has committed to. There are 5 essential elements to ISO 14001. Number 1, the company or organization writes an environmental policy. Policy is made public, and it's a commitment to continuous improvement, the prevention of pollution, and a commitment to comply with environmental regulations at a minimum, and a promise to make available to all employees a statement of the company's environmental intentions. That's it. But what does it mean for the day-to-day operations, the culture of your organization, and how you think about the environment?
Here at the New Jersey Marine Terminal, we have a 1,200-plus acre site with 45-year-old water pipes. And because of that, the age and the pounding of 65,000 trucks a day passing over pipes, we have numerous water leaks that we have to keep up with. The EMS program has allowed us to focus our resources on these leaks and come up with viable solutions. All of the water for the facility comes through this particular building. It's filtered, it's metered. We have flow chart recorders, which shows us pressure drops, which would indicate a leak. We can identify potential leaks out in the field that may be up to a quarter mile away. By the end of 2006, we expect to drop at least 20% of our water loss because of our efforts.
EMS, when you bring it around, it's just 3 letters. But if you go into an environmental management system and you're looking, even if it's a little thing, to save the environment, we realize that we use a lot of spray paint. And anybody that uses a lot of spray paint realizes you get down to the 3/4 down in the can, it doesn't work anymore. It's full of paint, but you can't get it out. Wind up throwing them in the dumpsters. dumpster eventually wind in landfills and, to get crushed up and go in the environment. Doing some research, found out there was a system to remove the paint and another system where I could compact the cans, throw them in, and use them as scrap steel. Basically, it's a three-step process. Once you get the can, we stick it in the machine, punctures it, drains it completely of any paint, take it out of there. The can is put into the compactor, crushes it flat as a pancake. Any residue is siphoned out when it's being crushed. Wasn't that much of a cost to put a system together. Over the long run, it'll pay for itself in the savings to the environment. The whole program is only a result of the EMS thinking about the environment, thinking about little ways to make the environment better. I can tell that the EMS is starting to work in Brooklyn because they're coming to me with the ideas, not waiting for me to tell them what to do.
We belong to an organization whose primary focus is on building transportation systems for our region for economic development and to make this region a good place to live. But the reality is that we can't do that without doing it in an environmentally sensitive way. And the EMS program allows us to do both of those things. Build infrastructure to improve the transportation systems in the region, but do it in a way where we can be proud of our environmental record. One of the questions you're going to get asked is, if you're going to double the amount of cargo that you bring into the port in the next 10 years, how are you going to do it in a way where you're not going to be adding to the congestion problems and the air quality problems and the water quality problems in our region? And I think it's the EMS system that's going to allow us to answer that question. We can grow the capacity of the port, and we can do it in an environmentally sustainable way, and it's that environmental management system thinking that's going to allow us to do that.